All right. We are good to go, Eli.
Sweet.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the TrollTalk podcast, episode 2. Officially episode 1, actually, because this will be the first one going up on YouTube, because the last one, I accidentally had a copyright song in the middle of the podcast, and we couldn't upload it. So, this will be the first episode we actually do upload to the Basement Trolls channel. But for now, it's just me and Eli, because McKay is being a dingus. And, yeah, so, how's it going today, Eli? How are you, my man?
Going pretty good. Just like right before how my internet just like died just
Yeah,
then?
I was sitting here flat. All right, podcast episode 2. All right. We are good to go, Eli.
Sweet.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the TrollTalk podcast, episode 2. Officially episode 1, actually, because this will be the first one going up on YouTube, because the last one, I accidentally had a copyright song in the middle of the podcast, and we couldn't upload it. So, this will be the first episode we actually do upload to the Basement Trolls channel. But for now, it's just me and Eli, because McKay is being a dingus. And, yeah, so, how's it going today, Eli? How are you, my man?
Going pretty good. Just like right before how my internet just like died just
Yeah,
then?
I was sitting here flashing my flashlight at him, trying to get his attention.
Yeah. Well, when it died, what like alerted me to like see that it had died, it was this freeze frame I'm sending you. It
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was bad. He's just sitting there staring at a screen like.
But
It was
no,
pretty
but
great.
look at the picture of you that I got. The freeze
I
frame
can't
of
look at
you.
Discord, dude. I have to do it on my phone.
It's amazing. Just the face you had going on there.
Oh my god. Jesus. Alright, Eli. So, obviously it's just you and I for now, until McKay, if he decides to join before we end.
CC.
One thing that we wanted to talk about was the new Star Wars episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have not seen the new Star Wars episode and want to, this is your spoiler warning.
Yeah.
So,
it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
is that how you felt about it?
Yeah.
Very
Like,
nice.
I thought that the director,
J.J. Abrams.
yeah, he did a good job of taking the second movie, which I shouldn't say the second movie, the eighth movie, which he didn't direct, and took it in such a way that it made sense with the rest of the lore of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I can agree with that. My thing about it, it was a good movie. They did pretty good on it.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie had enough fucking plot armor in it to withstand a nuke, dude.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They had enough plot armor to withstand anything anyone could ever throw at them.
Yeah, and so, like, when I went in to watch the movie, I was thinking, like, watching the different fan theories and stuff between what Rey was to Palpatine.
Right.
I think they led it in such a cool way because I had the feeling and understood kind of the same way as I think it was game theorists that talk about it, of that Rey was going to be a clone.
Yep, I saw that episode as well.
And I thought that was a really clever idea, and it made sense of what Palpatine was. Although I thought the clone thing, they kind of brought it in,
Yeah.
to a sense with General Snoke, but where they took Rey as the granddaughter was amazing.
Yeah. I like how they used the extended or the expanded universe, the lore that Palpatine cloned himself, gave himself like multiple clone bodies that his spirit could like transfer into using the Force. I didn't really like how they kind of didn't go with it in the sense that Han is supposed to kill his last remaining clone body. And then all the Force Spectres like Obi-Wan and Anakin and Yoda and all those guys are supposed to kind of trap Palpatine's spirit into this Force prison or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they didn't really go into that, which was interesting. But like, what I thought was real fun. Brain. Was just the relationship between like Rey and Ben Solo. Like I thought that was very well played.
Yeah.
Although I hated seeing Ben die there. And
yeah, it didn't make much sense because the Force ability to heal someone is just to heal wounds. It's not to bring them back from the dead.
Yeah.
Like you can see in The Mandalorian also, spoilers for Mandalorian, Yoda doesn't bring anybody back from the dead.
No, Baby Yoda does not.
He just uses the one bounty hunter dude, the main bounty hunter dude in the guild, uses his Force heal to heal his arm, right? And I think that was like the 7th episode.
8th. No,
that
was the 7th.
No, it was the 7th. Either way, you know, if they wanted to break it just like they did in The Rise of Skywalker, Yoda could have walked right up to Quill's dead body and just and alive.
Yeah.
But that takes like I saw in another fan thing. I can't remember what the dude's YouTube is. I was watching a thing about it, and it kind of takes away the consequence of killing off a character.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And I don't know if like Rey was completely dead, or she was unconscious and almost dead. That Ben was able to use the last of his Force essence to save her. Speaking
of which, it doesn't make sense that Palpatine literally ripped the Force from them.
No, it does. Like in a lot of the older Star Wars games, like Knights of the Old Republic, you could Force strain people.
And doesn't that kill them?
Depends on how much you use.
Fair
like
enough.
Palpatine probably just took what he needed, and then he was going to torture Ben and Rey.
Fucking McKay.
Like, but the I gotta say, like, one of the hardest things for me to really get my head around at the end was like, sure, I understand the Force, how the transfer of the Force energy, but what got me wondering was how like Ben was holding Rey in that scene.
Right.
Because he had his hand on her belly.
Yeah.
Like in a relationship kind of like that, it made me feel like, is there going to be a Ben Rey baby?
Yeah.
You know,
for real.
Like, but I don't see like any other Skywalker like coming out, like Skywalker blood coming out of it, with Rey just taking on the name of Skywalker.
She just took on the name. She doesn't have any Skywalker blood. She's still a Palpatine, whether she likes it or not.
Mm-hmm.
She can claim. I can claim all day that I'm a, that I'm something I'm not, but I'm always going to be, what I am. Same thing with Rey.
What your blood. Yeah. But I think it's good for her to like distance herself from the Palpatines by taking on the name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
one thing I will say I did not like about the movie was the space battle. The space battle above the one planet. Well, I guess it wasn't technically a space battle because it wasn't planet atmosphere, but when I can't remember the Imperial planet they went to. but it's
Yeah.
the one they found through Ray. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that was a fucking disaster.
What? So walk me through it. Why didn't you like it?
Okay, so they have one antenna on the ground, which they send the signal to the ships to rise above the atmosphere. One antenna.
Mm-hmm.
For however many ships that was, you need more than one antenna. Okay.
Well,
The resistance. Go ahead.
okay. Continue.
The resistance. The resistance plan was to find it in the air. Was to confirm its location in the air, from the air, and send a ground force to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they had several Y wings and A wings, which are both bombers,
Yeah.
they're gonna send a ground force to take it out.
I think what was the plan there? Like the single antenna doesn't bother me because all it needs to transmit is a small radio transmission, and so it doesn't need to navigate too much other than just to follow. And you see, like, it wasn't the only part of their plan that could make it work. They had the other starship that had the navigation that they
Right.
could link to. And so but with the ground crew, I gotta say that was because that way they could use the bombers on the star destroyers, the battleships,
Right.
rather than taking on a single antenna, which they could take down with a ground crew. That
Right.
would be easier. That they wouldn't need to waste precious bombs to take care of it.
Second part of that, the first order, or the final order, which I think it's the final order,
Yeah.
automatically know, like, they know that they're going for the antenna, so they switch it to the capital ship, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How does Finn automatically know that they switch the signal from the antenna to the ship?
The Force.
No. You can't...
Like, so I have a theory. So they've been like hinting throughout these last 3 like episodes that Finn is somewhat connected to the Force.
Okay.
So to be able to be led by the Force, and who knows, it might have been a little bit of a connection with Han Solo. Maybe Han Solo, as his like ghost, worked through Finn in a sense,
Right.
to let him know where they need to focus their fire.
Right. I will say, seeing Harrison Ford in this movie did surprise me.
Yeah, it did, because he has
Even if he was just a memory, you know.
Yeah. I feel like he it was funny to see him in where he does not want to do anything more
Yeah.
with Star Wars.
Yeah, he wants to be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
So going off of, they switched it to the ship. The way they did it, I'll say, was pretty cool. You know, mounting the ship with a bunch of horses and shit. But the final order could have literally just turned some sort of like gravity field on where everybody stays to the floor, and then tilted their ship this way, and then everybody just fucking falls to the planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it I don't know.
Instead of
That
sending
would've been
instead of sending all these Imperial Guard troopers to go like fight on the ship's hull, you know, tilt it 90 degrees and everybody just plummets.
Yeah. Well, it didn't make much sense that they didn't do something like that, or just took off into space.
Right.
They could have easily just flown off.
Oh yeah.
No problem. They're just like, oh, people are trying to stop us. We're just
The
going to
capital
continue our plan.
ship doesn't need the signal to fly up into space. They are the signal.
Yeah, and so they could have just ignored the whole thing and flew off and carried out their plan, which would have thrown off the rebels so much when they come to that planet and be like, we're coming to stop. Where'd they go?
Where'd they go? then, going on to my next point, you'd think after 2 Death Stars and Starkiller Base, the dumbass Empire would find a way to protect their weapons and ships a little more. You'd think.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of just leaving this giant cannon, you know, hanging by, like, kind of like the ship's dick, you know?
Yeah.
Just leave it hanging there. That's another thing.
Very well armored.
That's another thing I have to say.
Well, and that's one thing that bothered me too, is because like at the beginning they're like, "There's no way we can destroy that thing," and then they destroy it so easily there at the end. It's like
that
are
was
you
a
just
joke,
stupid?
Okay.
Like,
then,
make up your mind. Is it going to be hard or not?
Yeah, for real. Then we move to what was my other point? So after all the ships show up, all the resistance ships that Lando and Chewie gathered up. Speaking of Lando and Chewie, it doesn't make sense that they were able to collect that many resistant ships from so many planets in such a little time.
It's the fastest ship in the galaxy.
It doesn't matter.
They would just have to skip and drop a message, and
you can't do that though. Rey literally says you can't hyperslip in the Millennium Falcon because they land back on the Resistance planet and it bursts into flames. Anyway,
but it didn't work because the compressor was down. They got the compressor fixed, so it would have been. They were able to do it.
Anyway.
But how they did it, I don't know, and it doesn't really matter too much.
A little overanalyzation of the scene. If you go back in the movie and you pause it directly when all the resistance ships show up, you'll see they're nothing but copy pastes of previous ships.
That's great.
Like, people like dug through all the different ships. There's even Han's freighter from The Force Awakens. You know?
Oh my goodness.
There's a bunch of things from Force Awakens. There's a bunch of things from Rogue One. I'm not gonna go into it because I don't know the specifications of every single ship in the Star Wars universe. I'm not that big of a fan. Well, I'm not that. I like the Star Wars universe, but I'm not that big into it. Yeah. But explain to me how when they're following Rey's navigation data, they have to fly through all that space debris and AIDS and shit.
Well, have you seen about? like Rogue One? Because they had to do that same thing in Rogue One to get into there.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe that's just one of the things that they haven't really talked about in Star Wars, but there's so much like we don't know about space travel ourselves as humans on Earth, that we don't know how to be able to jump from point A to point B. And I guess the best way I can kind of explain it that makes sense to me is when you fly on a plane, sometimes the fastest route isn't a straight line.
Right.
So like when I went from to Switzerland over the summer, we flew over pretty much Greenland.
Right.
And it was cool to see Greenland from the air, at least the edge of it, what I saw. But but if you like draw on a map between us, it was a longer route, but it was quicker.
Right.
And so I'm guessing just how like they depicted space, like the vacuum of space, the fastest course was bouncing around through all that.
Well, have you heard of Eckhart's Ladder?
It sounds familiar, but
so
I'm not...
Eckhart's Ladder is a lore channel on YouTube where he goes into a lot of specific lore. He goes into Star Wars or science fiction. He goes into Halo. He goes into you know, Destiny. He goes into a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
And he explained that hyperspace is kind of like slip space in the Halo universe, except in the Halo universe they have an exact coordinate of where they're going to exit slip space, right? In hyperspace you don't technically have that. You're picking an area and then you're hyper jumping to that area, so you don't exactly know where you're going to end up. So what they'll do is, if they have a planet that they want to hyperspace jump to, they'll hyperspace outside of the orbit area, so they don't end up like crashing into the planet or crashing into a moon or the sun or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah, like episode 7, what happened.
Right, which is why they didn't jump straight into the planet's atmosphere, the Imperial planet's atmosphere. They had to hyper jump around the planet's atmosphere and then fly through all that space debris, which is where I'm getting to my point. How'd you get that many fucking resistance ships through all the space debris?
For the resistance ships, I don't know. Maybe they'll march like ants and go through a single file line when they
plot armor.
Yeah. It's
straight up plot armor, dude.
That, or if they were planning on just like forgetting to like even care about hyperspace and just hyperspace out from the planet's atmosphere.
Yeah.
That because they wouldn't have to worry about landing in a different place if they land outside. Yeah. So if they left, it wouldn't matter quite as much.
Another thing about the space battle that I saw Eckhart's Ladder talk about is one of the generals says, fire the ion cannons, and then just fire everything. Like the ion cannons are supposed to be a certain thing on the ship, right?
Yeah, but they were also using some of the stronger.
But they just fired everything. You know what I mean? That's just nothing. That's something that. Go ahead.
Maybe it's just been slightly overlooked when in the making of it, but they heard it said once before and they wanted to reuse it.
The scene where Palpatine opens the viewport for Rey to see the space battle above is very A New Hope. No, not A New Hope. What the hell is it? What's the episode?
Episode 6.
Yeah. Is it Return of the Jedi? Yeah, it's Return of the Jedi. Yeah, he just opens the viewport for Rey to see the entire space battle, which is exactly what he did for Luke.
Yeah, and I think Palpatine, like himself, he was trapped in a loop of how to intimidate people.
Also, what the hell was with the Gladys arm that was like connected to his back?
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't walk. He could literally blast entire spaceships out of the fucking sky, but he couldn't walk.
So, well, he did the lightning thing after he took the force energy from Rey and Ben, and that's when he was able to drop the Gladys arm. But there is the fan theory that the reason why he didn't die is when he fell into the Death Star is that he used the force to manipulate the Death Star to protect himself and keep him alive.
Kind of like Yoda did the entirety of training Luke. It's said in the lore that Yoda had to sustain his body through the Force to be able to make sure that Luke finished his training.
Yeah. With that, I know the reason why Yoda went to that planet is because it had a lot of dark side Force energy there. Yeah. And so he would be able to use it not only to sustain him, but be able to hide himself from Palpatine.
Yeah. Let's see. More plot armor that I can yell at. Let's go to where they're rescuing Chewie.
Oh,
Okay, when
okay.
they're rescuing Chewie from that prison ship.
That
Why
was
does I realize that they're stormtroopers? Okay, I realize that they're
Uh-huh.
First Order stormtroopers. Why does not a single bolt hit Finn or Poe? But yet, while running through the halls, even though these stormtroopers are behind cover, they're able to blast them down with one shot.
yeah.
Even though this armor is supposed to protect, up to 5 shots. Just blast them down in one shot like it's no big deal. And then after, it's when they stop that Poe finally gets shot.
Yeah. That stormtroopers, like, they have never really made sense.
Yeah,
like
no.
in the clones, they made sense, but every other time why they couldn't shoot is just ridiculous. Like you've seen in episode 8 of
Oh my
The
god, that was
Mandalorian.
funny.
They're just,
Oh,
like,
that
trying to
was so
shoot.
funny.
And so that cameo
Even
scene
when
was
IG
hilarious.
walked up, he was pointing right at him and he shot near his foot.
Yeah, like he aimed like
Oh my
afterwards.
God.
Like it was so stupid. The yeah. And my idea behind that, and I was thinking about it the other day, was the reason why the stormtroopers cannot aim is because plot armor, but the overproduction of the weapons going to try to keep up an army that they ended up using like cheaper materials that
Talking
wasn't
about the
higher-
E11.
Kind of. Well, I'm not like, I don't know like the specifics of what they're using.
Well, the
but,
E11
like,
is the like typical blaster that the
yeah.
stormtroopers use. Yeah.
But like their weapons, it'd be like buying the difference between like the clones' weapons versus the stormtroopers is the clones, they had better weapons.
Yeah.
There wasn't as many of them, and so they would have like true American-made, handmade like guns.
America.
America versus the over mass-produced, under-engineered like Chinese ones.
Right.
And so that's my thought. But on top of it, they were taking people that didn't even really want to be there, and then forcing them to do stuff that they weren't wanting to do. So it was overproduction of workers, and you'll find in places like that the morale and ability to actually do good
Yeah, when the
drops.
if you read into it, when the Empire took over after the Order 66 and all that, Palpatine was really pushing to end the clone era, to try to get the clones out of service, and to open enlistment to anybody who wanted to join and become a stormtrooper. And the clones felt that regular human recruits were vastly inferior than the clones, and they were kind of right.
Yeah, well, it was the difference between like your normal warrior versus a Mandalorian blood clone.
Yeah, they were literally trained from birth with their squad mates. Simulations of war until about 10 years old, which, if you don't know, the Kaminoans, they're called, put into the clones an aging factor that ages them twice as fast as normal humans. So when normal humans 20, it's the same thing with a clone, other than they're 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
So they have the same skill as a 20-year-old, so they're ready to go into battle. So yeah. So human recruits were vastly inferior to clone troopers.
And it's just training alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really feel like the downfall of the Sith throughout the saga was their pride
Uh-huh.
and trying to be able to control people. Whereas how like the Rebel Alliance worked was just open to begin with, and then people that wanted to be free of this tyrannic rule.
And they used like surgical guerrilla warfare to be able to take down the Empire.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they didn't attack vast planets. They attacked actual like vulnerabilities within their assets, like the exhaust port on the Death Star, or the shield generator for the Death Star 2, or whatever the hell they did with Starkiller Base. I can't remember. I think it just like imploded.
Well, they found a spot where they could blow up.
They always leave a spot.
Yeah,
the Empire always has to build the biggest and baddest thing to destroy whatever the fuck they want to destroy, but they always leave something for the rebellion to find to destroy. Whether it be the giant dick cannons on the new Final Order Star Destroyers, the Death Star shit. Yeah.
I gotta say, like, the best design they had was the Star Destroyer. Yeah. That was the best design. The only reason why it worked out for the Rebels is because Han took the chance of leaving the hyper jump at the right moment to be inside the shields. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to get in.
Yeah.
And so.
Yep. Oh, man. Star Wars. Mandalorian. Look, the Mandalorian's a good show, though.
Oh, I love The Mandalorian. Like, for once, like, it was a TV show that had, like, movie quality budget to it that made it feel so much better. Like, Baby Yoda, the animation, if they were to go with, like, a normal TV show budget, would have been a Muppet.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
But what they did with Baby Yoda was so much better.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they really took the time. It makes me sad that it's only 8 episodes that was released in the span of 2 months.
Oh, but boy, you want to talk about some fan service, though? Talk about the fucking Mandalorian, dude.
I know.
With the scout troopers missing the can that's like 10 feet in front of them and them punching Baby Yoda.
Oh, yeah. So the actor that cameoed that, he is not going to live down punching Baby Yoda for the rest of his life.
Both of them punched him.
I know. They're going to get so much hate.
How is he able to take a full-on punch straight to the dome, dude?
Hard skulls. I don't know.
Damn,
but, like, but
full-on just bah!
You know, if the troopers are so bad at aiming, well, I guess they are bad at throwing punches too, you know?
I guess, dude. I guess. Yeah. All right, we got 22 minutes left, Eli.
Oh, so something else I want to talk about, the Mandalorian. Oh.
You're good.
Oh, my screen went black.
Shit.
Yeah, I wasn't messing around too much. No, speaking of black, the black lightsaber at the very end of The Mandalorian.
Yup.
That's got my mind turning so many different ways because by the Clone Wars and Rebels, Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul, who had that lightsaber.
Yep.
So how did this weird general dude get that lightsaber?
Yep. I don't know.
Because that lightsaber was a sword of the Mandalorians.
Yeah. An
ancient weapon of the Mandalore.
Yeah.
It would be so cool to see Din Djarin become Mandalore.
Yeah.
As a
I was actually
part of the creed.
I was actually very surprised we got to see his face too.
Yeah, it was fun.
You mean my brain? That was a joke.
And he's just like, what? Yeah. But I felt like it really made it a very intimate scene to go from showing his face to the droid, and then 5 minutes later, the droid dying.
Yeah.
What is this?
Don't click on it. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to trust it.
Okay. Google search. What the crap? So it's probably an image from Google.
Yeah, I'm not going to click on it. I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, some interesting stuff.
Yep.
I'm not saying that. I don't know what that is.
Sorry, no speak Espanol.
Hold on, let me take it to Google Translate, see what it says. It's probably some TOS shit.
It probably.
Damn it. Okay, here we go.
What is it?
Naked bear. Okay. What the fuck?
Walk into a Twitch stream. Naked bear.
Naked bear. What the hell, dude?
No! No! Ain't going to search that.
Yeah, no, I'm good, fam. I'm good. My dude. So, got any other topics we can talk about, Eli?
Did you hear, like, it's still saying onto the Star Wars, did you hear about the Obi-Wan movie being canceled to be a TV show?
I didn't.
Yeah, so they canceled Obi-Wan, the movie Obi-Wan, to become a TV show on Disney Plus.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Peladot's delicious candy? I bet it is, man. I'm still not going to search it.
Naked bears. Here you go.
Shut
Naked
the hell
bears.
Up, Get the hell out of here.
No, but I think it'd be cool because I think that will enlighten part of the where did the lightsaber go from the Mandalorian to get into the hands there. And if I understand correctly, like Ian McGregor, he is being casted again as Obi-Wan, which is awesome. And it takes place after he drops off Luke to Uncle Ben.
Nice.
Or not Uncle Ben. Was it Ben?
No, it was who the hell was it? I don't remember.
Was it Uncle? I think it was Uncle Ben, but that anyway, his uncle, or step uncle.
Yeah, something like that. Do you want to know what the burning question I want to know? What the hell happened to the New Republic?
What do you mean?
What the hell happened to the New Republic?
Oh, after.
So the New Republic took over after Vader and Palpatine's death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd it go between the Mandalorian and the Force Awakens?
So I think like the New Republic, they were still trying to rebuild what the Empire had destroyed with the Senate, and so they were trying to regain the control of some of those harsher planets. That's why we didn't see anything on Nabaru, where the Mandalorian takes place. But I think a lot of it has to be they were still just a small rebel group.
Well, it's 5 years.
Yeah, but
you don't think 5 years is enough to build a government and an actual proper army?
Well, it would probably normally be good enough, but Palpatine had orders placed that when he died, that they would take place. That's the
contingency. Everybody retreats to whatever the fucking planet's called, Biss or whatever. Now, Biss is the one. This is where all Palpatine shit happened. But yeah, it was a contingency plan that all the Empire would retreat and then rebuild, and that was his first order upon his death.
But there was all sorts of other things. Like he had, I think, 90 so odd different orders, based around his death and how to go about without him.
Yeah.
Without, yeah.
Excuse me.
But I feel like they were the New Republic. Not only were they trying to form that government type or that bond between everyone, but it was still just so much work that of constantly having to fight back against these rogue empire people.
Yeah, you can see in The Mandalorian they literally have prison ships.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's got to be something that's pretty low on the to-do list, is a prison ship.
I don't know.
Because prisons you can just put on the ground and leave them. A couple guards and you're fine.
Yeah.
Also, why the hell is the prison ship nothing but droids? Why is it
and
powered
the one
by...
dude.
And the one dude, yeah.
I think the idea behind it is that, like, the people there, like, in the ship were the worst of the worst. They wanted to have the most least likely chance of having them escape.
Right.
And so by putting droids in place where they couldn't be persuaded to open up and do things like a normal human might do, it took away the human factor of it all, that they were able to keep those prisoners locked in there better.
Yeah.
But with the one guy, even having just the one guy just sounds like a pain, because he would be like a prisoner himself.
Yeah.
Like I think it would have been better to have an all droid, or a better mixture of droid and human, so it wasn't just one guy having to fly through space.
Maybe instead of a prison ship, how about a prison fleet, where it's a small conglomerate of ships, where you have one capital ship, where you have one main ship that does all your your stuff, and then you have like 3 or 4 cell ships where it's nothing but prison cells.
And they fly around together?
Yeah, they fly around in a conglomerate.
The thing I have a problem with is if you had the conglomerate, you'd be putting more prisoners in an area together. Right. So let's say like the majority of maybe one ship was people that were former Empire.
Right.
Some of the worst of the worst. Well, if the Empire comes, they know just to take over that ship and maybe some of the others and gain new allies.
Right. That's when you just nuke the bitch and call it a day.
And that's what they tried to do, but their fail-safe was take the beacon off board so somebody could throw it on a different ship. Yeah.
Just nuke the bitch and call it a day, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
I have yet to play the Fallen Order, or the Fallen...
Oh, yeah.
I want to play it, though.
I want to play that, too. It looks really good. I was watching... who was it? One SaveX's friends.
Jason?
That we were talking about. Yeah, he was playing it.
Yep.
And it looked really good. I had a good conversation talking to him about it and some of the older games that we grew up playing that were Star Wars.
I like him. He's a good streamer.
Oh, yeah. Real friendly.
He's a good dude. Ugh. Shit, Eli.
Yeah.
What do you say we do, my man?
Well, I don't know, because that was pretty much all the topic I had.
That's pretty much all I had.
That was kind of TOS, but I can talk to you about it another time.
All right. All right. Well, I'm gonna call it here.
All right.
I'm gonna get this recorded, because for some reason one of my drivers is out and I couldn't actually record and stream at the same time. So I'm gonna go update my driver and then record the stream back, call her a day, and get it uploaded to YouTube.
Can you just re-download the stream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just have to do that. So, all right, friends, it's been a good 50-minute podcast. We're gonna end it now. Hopefully next week we'll have McKay on when he actually says he's going to be on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you boys for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Let's do a 7, Eli.
I'll salute.
Woo. My fade is too long.